Hello and welcome my friends to the author tutorial part 2. Today I have some quick tips that I did not mention in the last video that I actually needed to be fixed. First of all is the form of using your weapons. Now I mentioned that you can use one weapon in the air and then one on the ground. However, I didn't mention that it's a great idea to mix them up. For example, you can use a crossbow in the air and then use the daggers on the ground, or vice versa. Doing this makes your projectiles hard to dodge and even more difficult to try to close in on Arthur. One of the things about Arthur is that he has a very strong zoning game. Against characters, for example, like Dante, like I'm sure here, it is best to stay in the middle ground of the stage, like mid-screen, because Dante can teleport behind you. So if you're in mid-screen, it would be easier for you to dodge his incoming teleport, or if he somehow manages to grab you out of the air. One thing I noticed about my playstyle with Arthur is that I'm not very good at zoning. So I must say I have fought other Arthur characters, and his zoning is very good against my team. He almost went perfect just zoning me out. So he has a very good zoning, but you must be careful with it. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that I mentioned that his lance thrust is not as good as Taskmaster's forward H. Well, apparently I was half right. His lance, as soon as it starts that wave, it actually has a very high priority. Stronger than Taskmaster's forward H, which for me has been almost impossible to stop because it's just so strong. The only problem is that Arthur's forward H takes a while to start up. So if you throw this predicting Taskmaster's move, you can easily counter his attack. Another thing that Gamer Joanna told me is that his fireball can OTG in Emperor armor. The only thing is that you have to go up while doing the combo instead of forward and then doing heavy H. My problem with this is that when you're doing a combo with Arthur that leads you into the Emperor armor, it's going to miss. Here's an example of what I mean. Here I do my basic BMB combo with the Emperor armor, and I end up in the corner and the fireball misses. You really have to do it from the corner, from here, in order for it to work. And now let's go with hyper counters, which is something I like to do in my tutorials. There's a few of his hypers that have invincibility frames. Most importantly is the Emperor armor. If you activate this, you have a few frames of invincibility and you can dodge the attack. However, there are a few exceptions, as this won't always work with everyone. But it does give you a nice chance to dodge a single hit from an opponent and counter it. Here I'm going to show that even though it has invincibility frames, there's an issue with this, with trying to do this as a counter. If you use a hyper that has more hits, you actually can't block as soon as you get the Emperor armor, as shown here. I got hit. I was definitely blocking that, but it doesn't allow you, so be careful with that. His other great maneuver is his level 3. The entire time he's doing this, he is completely invincible. However, if opponents block it or dodge it like seen there, you are able to get hit, so be careful. But I do suggest you throwing out a level 3 if you see your opponent is trying to zone you out and even calls assist. For example, Sentinel is a great example there. Use this to your advantage to cause some heavy damage. Also remember, it can OTG. Let's go with some combos. I actually already uploaded Arthur combos before, but here I'm gonna show a couple of more. I'm gonna link in the description that video of my other combos. Now, something about Arthur combos is they're very hard to pull off online because of how restricted they are. You really have to be careful with your timing. So actually, for me, to be honest, I never use these I never use these combos online. I think the one I'm gonna show right now is the basic one that I do. Anything that avoids doing the Dragon Punch motion, because I hate doing that. So that the combos I'm showing now is, at least this one that I know specifically, is the one I use online. The level 3 you could just throw it out there to kind of kill someone if you manage to hit them with it. But you know, you don't have to do the level 3. You can save up your bars and use it for something else. Here's I'm again just showing you basic combos. If you have more questions about these, I can do a slower breakdown of each input and attacks that I'm suggesting to do here. One of the main ways you're gonna start up a combo is through Air S. As you notice, that was a great startup from Taskmaster covering from below. This is also a great tool that works almost anywhere on the screen if you use the right tools. Arthur combos in the corner are extremely deadly because of his fire bottle loop that he has, which he can only do 3 times depending on the hit stun. I only recommend doing 2 of them before you throw in a hybrid, just to be sure. So yeah, if you have any more questions about these combos, I can do a slower breakdown, but I'm just showing you visual examples that you can copy off just from watching. X Factor. Now the thing about Arthur here in X Factor is that he gets really fast. For his normal walking speed, he gets insanely quicker. All of his projectiles also get even more safe and do a lot more chip damage. As you can see, Arthur is just going nuts on Sentinel here. His standing S is still very risky, so I have a bad habit of using S. Just throwing it randomly, but don't do that yourself. As for what I'm doing right now, this is basically how you're gonna watch Arthur most of the time in a team. He's a great anchor on his level 3 X Factor and Emperor armor because of the insane amount of damage he does. I didn't mention it, but I'm gonna say right now is that his lance throw, if you hit it once, you can, if you're fast enough, you can connect it up to 3 or 4 times, and then will definitely nearly kill anyone. And by the time you're doing this, the character is going to be too weak to survive it. His crossbow becomes even more deadlier and accurate. Sure, the opponent can fly, can jump, and completely dodge your X Factor. So be sure to do this on characters that that aren't good with escaping or flying out of the screen, because Arthur can deal a heavy amount of damage. Here I put the enemy on block, and you can see that even though he's blocking, he's still taking a lot of damage. So if you know your opponent's team, Arthur is a great level 3 X Factor anchor because of that chip damage. The only downside is that when your X Factor runs out, your armor's gonna break and you're going to be highly exposed. So be careful on what kind of role you want to choose Arthur for. Personally, I don't like to spam because most of the opponents I fight can easily run away from Arthur. So I get close and take advantage of his insane speed boost, which you may take that in consideration. As a conclusion, because I kind of speeded through this whole thing, fighting against Arthur can be difficult because he can zone you out very easily. Most of the times I recommend you super jumping, and then if you have any kind of dash, to approaching Arthur. From my personal experience, every time Arthur comes out, and if they catch me like a grab or a single hit combo that wasn't blocking, like a mix-up, he goes down pretty damn fast. He has a good zoning and does actually a very good amount of damage if you get into a combo. But his low health can be an issue because he does go down very fast. I think up to 1 or 2 combos can take this guy down. But if he has good assist and good protection from the back, his zoning out can be insane. So I do recommend giving Arthur a try. Now he's actually very versatile because you can put him as point to deal as much chip damage and zone out the opponent, to frustrate them a little bit, because that always works. It's a fighting game. You need to use any kind of strategy to beat your opponent. So he can be on point to damage the opponent or even get a few hybrid bars. Me personally, I like to put him in the middle of my team so I can use his assist. But something about his assist that I just noticed recently: Arthur comes in front of you when using his assist. which can be an issue because an opponent can hit both Arthur and yourself if you're not careful. And half the time that's going to equal a dead Arthur if you're not careful with his assist. So I actually only recommend using his assist for, you know, if you're far back into the corner and you're zoning out the opponent, or if you're in mid combo, use his assist to help you out expand it. But don't throw it out randomly, it's a very bad idea and it's gonna get him killed. As anchor, keep in mind to stick, you know, with the plan. If Arthur's gonna be your anchor, use him, you know, preferably make sure that your opponent wastes his X factor, otherwise you're gonna blow your X factor for nothing. So either you zone out the opponent with the high amount of chip damage, or you take advantage of the speed boost and try to get him in a cross up with the air S. So those are my tips for Arthur. One last thing I want to say is that you know, basically why I did this tutorial is because I always love the Ghost and Goblin games. For me, it really depends on the character loyalty. The reason why I'm using Arthur, despite all of his issues that he dies quickly, I'm not good with zoning, so most of the times enemies, you know, cross me up and catch me off guard and end up killing Arthur. Recently Arthur has really just been dying on me. But the thing is I love Arthur so much because of his games, because I actually grew up with them. I honestly never been able to beat any of these games fairly. The one I'm showing right now is an emulator, and I use save states, which, you know, we all know is considered cheating. So I didn't beat this game legit, the way it should be. But in the end, it really comes down to what characters you like. If there's a Capcom or Marvel character you enjoy, I really do suggest you to give them a try. Try to experiment what Capcom gave them, because Capcom definitely gave these characters options, despite not looking like it. Because, you know, when you look at Arthur not being able to dash, moving slow, well, you just think he's a zoning character. But then there's these other opponents that can get in Arthur's zoning and kill him in a single combo, like Wesker or Virgil or Dante. I think Sentinel also gives me, no, actually Sentinel, he's a big he's a very big target against Arthur's projectiles. But even despite that, his limitations, he you know, with his downward S, that was just a tiny little fix they did from vanilla to ultimate, you know, Arthur for me now is completely useful in my team. I just need to get used to him and avoid my bad habits of throwing the assist, you know, randomly, because he gets caught and gets killed. To be more careful with when he jumps in and gets mixed up, because it's completely lethal if you get mixed up at the beginning when your character jumps in. So again, those are my suggestions. If you love Ghost and Goblin games, give Arthur a try, because it really does feel like you're playing one of those games. And if you played any of these games, it's all about dedication and you know, and focus to what you're doing. And that's why I love Arthur and why I decided to make this tutorial. He's a, you know, I'm repeating myself here, so I'm really sorry about that. But I just want to remark that as a final conclusion. Arthur does decent amount of damage. He can mix up the opponent easily with that downward S, and it's completely safe. His zoning is very strong against certain characters and has a high priority in his projectiles. His like cons, you could say, is that he has low health, he's easy to mix up if you're not careful, and you know, his Emperor armor and level 3 X factor can be avoided completely, and you know, it leaves you in a very bad situation. So I hope you love these tutorials, and I hope I didn't ramble on too much with nonsense. Again, if you have specific questions that I did not cover about Arthur, or something that I did not explain completely, please leave a comment below and I will answer any questions that you have. So until the next time, thank you for watching this video. I hope the visual information was enough, you know, to help you out. If there's anything that you need help with, don't be afraid to ask. I'm going to help you with that. Take care and happy gaming, my friends. Latz.